Good morning, students. In this class, I'll discuss the fifth unit that is about the discrete time signal analysis. Anyway, we have studied the continuous time signal analysis by using the Fourier transform and the Laplace transform in the third unit. Immediately, I'm discussing the fifth unit, that is analysis of discrete time signals, discrete time signal analysis. 50% of the fourth unit we already completed, that is about the discrete time signals and the operations on the discrete time signals. So now in this video I am going to discuss about the discrete time signal analysis by making use of the another type of transform that is called as Z transform. In the first unit we have discussed that discrete time signal is defined only at a specific or the discrete time instance only, and it is denoted with x of n. We know that these discrete time signals applied as input for a system is called as discrete time systems. I am recalling the concept which we have studied in the first unit about the discrete time signals and the discrete time systems. First unit completely we studied about the various types of signals and the systems. A discrete time signal is a one which can be defined at the discrete instant of time only. At a specific instant of time only the signal can be defined. If we apply this type of signals as an input for a system whose response or whose output is also the discrete time in its nature, then that system is called as discrete time system. In the third unit we have studied the linear time invariant system, and the linear time invariant system, that is a linear time invariant discrete time system, is different represented by the difference equation. I hope I am very clear. In case of continuous time signals, linear time invariant system response is described by making use of differential equation. But a linear time invariant discrete time system, is represented by a algebraic difference equation. The solution of those difference equation is quite tedious and time consuming. So usually they can be solved in the indirect method. So here we are using one particular indirect method to solve that difference equation. Difference equation is nothing but it is the response of linear time invariant discrete time system. Output of a linear time invariant discrete time system is a difference equation. The solution of that difference equation somewhat tedious and time consuming, so that we have been depending on the another indirect method that is called as Z transform. So Z transform is a method which is used to solve the difference equation of a linear time discrete time system, linear time invariant discrete time system. The Z transform is a discrete time counterpart of the Laplace transform. One may ask the doubt is that in case of continuous time signals also, we have converted the differential equation into the discrete time, then we applied the Laplace transform to get its response or to get the solution. But here also the Z transform is the discrete time counterpart of the Laplace transform. It is an indirect method of the Laplace transform. The Z transform is a powerful mathematical tool which is used to convert the difference equation into algebraic equation in Z domain. Everyone has to remember the point is that Fourier series we have studied in the second unit, that is used to represent or that is used to analyze the aperiodic signals only. Periodic signal solutions can be done by the Fourier series. Whereas in case of Fourier transform, aperiodic signals as well as periodic signals can be analyzed, or the solution of the periodic signals and the aperiodic signals can be done through the Fourier transform. And coming to the next one is about the Laplace transform. Laplace transform is a mathematical tool which converts the differential equation into the difference equation when the signals are in the continuous time domain. Now here, when the signals are in the discrete time in its nature, then we can apply the Z transform. The point is very clear. Hence, the linear time invariant discrete system difference equation become easy with the help of Z transform. This is about the introduction of the Z transform. Then I am going to have the one more point here. Z transform is nothing but it is the counterpart of the Laplace transform only. Laplace transform will give the signal is in S domain, whereas this Z transform will give the signal is in the Z domain. That is S domain and it is Z domain. The contents I am going to cover in this particular presentation. One is introduction, as just now I discussed, and the need of Z transform. In this I am going to explain about the zeros and poles, and after that I am going to explain the region of convergence. After that I am going to explain some of the Z transform properties. So everybody remember that in the external examination point of view, that properties of the Fourier transform, properties of the Laplace transform, properties of the Z transform are very important question. If you are good at the properties of the Fourier transform, that is very easy to understand the remaining properties of the Laplace transform and the Z transform. So from the properties of the Fourier transform, properties of the Laplace, properties of the Z transform, we can expect the one long answer question in the exam. So to understand all these properties, you require to understand the properties of Fourier transform. Around 11 properties are there. If you are good at those 11 properties, you can understand very easily the remaining properties that are properties of Laplace transform and the properties of the Z transform. Then I am going to explain the introduction of the Z transform. Why Z transform? It is a generalization of the Fourier transform because the Fourier transform can be applied for the continuous time signals, whereas Z transform can be applied for the discrete time signals. That means continuous time signal can be analyzed effectively by making use of the Fourier transform, whereas the discrete time signals can be analyzed effectively. Discrete time signals can be analyzed effectively by making use of Z transform. Then why we have to go for a generalized Fourier transform? Because if a linear time invariant discrete time system response is a difference equation, then that will be very hard to analyze that particular response of the system. Then we are making the simplest by converting that is into the Z domain. Z domain is nothing but it is an algebraic equation. So here the why we are going for the generalized Fourier transform. Fourier transform does not converge on all sequence. Notation good for analysis. Bring the power of complex variable theory deals with the discrete time signals and systems only. This is about here Z transform is going to deal very effectively with the discrete time signal and systems. Then I am going with the definition. Now here I wanted to remind you that Z transform is used to analyze only the discrete time signals only. It is used to analyze only discrete time signal. This is nothing but it is a discrete time signal. See this one, discrete time signals can be denoted with the x of n only. Now this is x of n. Now this is x of n we have, on which we will be applying the Z transform. The Z transform of a sequence that is x of n is nothing but here it is a discrete time signal. So now this discrete time signal which is defined at the some specific instant of times is called the discrete time signal, and that discrete time signal we are converting into the Z domain by making use of the Z transform. Z transform x of z is equals to sigma n is equals to minus infinity to plus infinity. In case of Fourier transform, that is x of omega. In case of Laplace transform, that is x of s, in which we have integral minus infinity to plus infinity, because the signal is there from the minus infinity to plus infinity. Continuously it is there from minus infinity to plus infinity. But here the discrete time signal is there at the some specific intervals of time from minus infinity to plus infinity. In between the minus infinity to plus infinity, at specific intervals of time only the signal is existing, so that we can make use the sigma here. Sigma n is equals to minus infinity to plus infinity x of n into z to the power of minus n. Where in case of Fourier transform what we have? Integral minus infinity to plus infinity x of t into e to the power of minus j omega t dt. In case of Laplace transform what we have? X of s is equals to integral minus infinity to plus infinity x of t into e to the power of minus st dt. Here instead of integral we will be using the sigma, because it is a summation of the values at some discrete instant of time or some specific instant of time. Let z is equals to, we can assume e to the power of minus j omega, e to the power of minus j omega, so that I can write this is x of e to the power of j omega is equals to sigma n is equals to minus infinity to plus infinity x of n e to the power of minus j omega n. This is the standard definition for the Z transform. Here x of z is the Z transform of x of n. This is Z transform of x of n. X of n is the discrete time signal, and we can have z is a complex variable. Someone can ask that what is z? Z is nothing but it is a complex variable. So now here this is, we can say that it is a Fourier transform of the discrete time signal. Fourier transform, that means what? If you assume this is integral minus infinity to plus infinity, this is x of t, this is x of t, so that it will be e to the power of minus j omega t, and with respect to the dt only. It is if it is continuous time signal, it is equals to the Fourier transform only. But here it is the discrete time signal, so that we have you change the notation, that is instead of integration we did the summation, that is n is equals to minus infinity to plus infinity. We have replaced the continuous time signal is with the discrete time signal, and the e to the power of minus j omega. N is here the independent variable n. If it is a continuous time signal, we have to replace this by t. So as we have discussed the Laplace transform, there are the two types of Laplace transform. One is unilateral, another one is a bilateral. If the Laplace transform is there from the 0 to infinity, or the minus infinity to 0, then that is called as unilateral Laplace transform. If the Laplace transform is existed for minus infinity to plus infinity, then that is called as bilateral one. In the same way, there are two types of Z transform. One is bilateral Z transform, another one is unilateral Z transform. So the Z transform defined, the Z transform defined as the both sided summation, that is sigma n is equals to minus infinity to plus infinite, that is called bilateral or double sided Z transform. Unilateral or single sided, that is if the x of z is equals to sigma 0, sigma n is equals to 0 to infinity, or sigma n is equals to minus infinity to 0, then that is called as single sided or unilateral. So then I'm going to explain the Z plane. That means a region of convergence we should know. In the Laplace transform also we have studied the region of convergence, that is ROC, in short we can call ROC. The range of values of Z, for which x of z convergence called the region of convergence, that is ROC. In case of Laplace transform, what we have? In case of Laplace transform, the range of values of S, because Laplace transform will give the signal in the S domain. That means the range of values of here Z, the range of values of Z, the range of values of Z, this is the value of Z. Range of values of Z for which x of z convergence called the region of convergence. In case of Fourier transform, we need to plot the amplitude spectrum and the phase spectrum, whereas in case of Laplace transform and the Z transform, we have to plot the region of convergence. In case of Laplace transform, the range of values of H for which x of S convergence. In case of Z transform, the range of values of Z, the range of values of Z for which x of z convergence, that is called region of convergence. See this one, x of z is equals to, we know that sigma n is equals to minus infinity to plus infinity x of n into z to the power of minus n, and if you wanted to replace z is equals to e to the power of j omega is equals to sigma n is equals to minus infinity plus infinity x of n into e to the power of minus j omega n. That means what? Here we need to find out the value of z. We need to find out the value of z for which that is going to convergence. So Fourier transform is to evaluate the z transform on unit circle. Then z transform zeros and poles. So just now I have explained the ROC is centered on origin and consists of set of rings. So in the case of Laplace transform, we had the either rectangles or the squares for the region of convergence, but in case of the Z transform, ROC is centered on a region and consists of a set of rings. It will have the rings. Then I am going to explain the same now. It gives the sequence, a set of values of z for which the z transform, that is x of z convergence, that is, it must be a finite value. Modulus of x of z must be a finite value. In other words, we can say that the modulus of x of z must be less than infinite is called the region of convergence. See this one, x of z, we know that what modulus of x of z is equals to modulus of sigma n is equals to minus infinity to plus infinite x of n into z to the power of minus n is equals to, we can write sigma n is equals to minus infinity to plus infinity x of n modulus of x of n into modulus of z to the power of minus n. If we do this summation, we have to get the less than infinity for the range of values of z. Then that is called the region of convergence. So now region of convergence in case of the Laplace transform, we got the region of convergence either it is a square or a rectangle, but in case of a Z transform we can get the Laplace transform. We can get the region of convergence in the form of S circles. In the form of S circles we will get. A stable system requires that its Fourier transform is uniformly convergent. Fourier transform is evaluate Z transform on unit circle. Just now I have explained. This is about the unit circle. The Fourier transform is used to evaluate Z transform. This is about the Z transform plane is Z plane and a unit circle and a Z transform on a unit circle. A stable system requires the ROC of Z transform to include the unit circle. Then example, I am going with the right-sided sequence. A right-sided sequence, I am going with the right-sided sequence. X of n is equals to, we have the signal that is a discrete time signal. What is that? X of n is equals to a to the power of n into u of n. U of n, we know that u of n, it is a discrete time unit step signal whose value is 1 for all the values of n which n is equals to greater than or is equals to 0. If n is less than 0, if n is less than 0, if n is less than 0, u of n is equals to 0 only. So that u of n is equals to 0 for minus infinity to 0, so that we no need to consider minus infinity to 0. Simply we can consider n is equals to 0 only. So now I am substituting sigma n is equals to 0 to infinity. For 0 to infinity, un value is equals, u of n is equals to 1, so that a to the power of n remains same into 1 into z to the power of minus n. So now by substituting the various values, by substituting the various values for the n is equals to 0, you can substitute. 0 means a power of 0, that z to the power of 0. That means what? That is 1 plus, you can get 1 plus, we can get the 1 plus z to the power of 0, that is also 1. 1 plus 1 by z plus 1 by z square. Like that we can get the simplification, so that what we can get, the final answer is about a to the power z to the power of minus 1, it must be less than 1. That means what? If we simplify this one, you will get the answer is a z to the power of minus 1 modulus less than 1. That means what? Z must be greater than a. Z must be greater than a. So that region of convergence, that means what? We have to draw the region of convergence in the z plane. That z plane, a must be greater than z must be greater than a, onwards it is going to convergence, so that we can have the convergence. This one, see this one, we got x of z is equals to z by z minus a, we got, and the region of convergence, z must be greater than a, z must be greater than a. See this one, here to here unit 1, it is a Fourier transform to represent the z transform, and here I can assume this is a, so that the z value more than a, this area is comes under the z value is more than a, so that here that region of convergence can be exist. Likewise, you can analyze. This is another example. See this one. A to the x of n is equals to a to the minus a to the power of n into u to the power of minus n minus 1. First of all, we must know what is u of n minus 1. U of n minus n means what? U of minus n means it is a time shifting operation applied on the u of n, so that we can get the u of minus n is equals to 1. U of minus n is equals to 1, where n is equals to minus infinity to 0, whereas minus infinity to 0 is value is minus infinity to 0 whose value is 1, and it is shifted by right, it is shifted by the left side by the 1 unit, so that what we can have it will be n is equals to minus infinity to minus 1 whose amplitude is equals to 1, so that you can simply this part is equals to 1 into a to the power of n, so that remain z power of n remains on, so that again this is having the same formula, that is a to the power of minus 1 z less than 1, so that you can go with the simplification. That means what? Modulus z must be less than a. That means what? Region of convergence can be existed for x of z whose z value must be less than a, that a may be positive or negative, so that you can have the region of convergence. See this one, less than a, this if this is a and this is a unit z is equals to 1 here, that is what? Unit circle, which is used to represent the z transform by making use of the Fourier transform, and the region of convergence exists, the z value is less than a. This point you can call this is a, and such that you can have that is about the region of convergence. This is about what? This is about the left sided sequence of region of convergence for x of n is equals to minus a to the power of n into u of minus n minus 1. So region of convergence we have discussed. So region of convergence represent the z transform as a rational function. If we have the x of z is equals to p of z by q of z, where p of z and q of z are nothing but polynomials in z, so that zeros, that nothing but the values of z such that x of z is equals to 0, by putting the value of z such that x of z is equals to, we will get that x of z in the rational function, that is p of z by q of z. If you substitute z is some value, if it makes x of z is equals to 0, that is called as zeros. If I substitute the z is equals to some value such that x of z is equals to infinity, then we can call it is in poles. Like that you can have a right sided sequence, that is just now we discussed. This is what it is about the x of n is equals to a n into u of n. We got x of z is equals to z by z minus a, where modulus z is greater than modulus a. So now ROC is, we have the ROC where from z is greater than a is equal, z is greater than a onward, so that ROC is bounded by the poles and it is interior of a circle. If you substitute some values of z here, you will get the pole, that is nothing but here all that will be the infinity, so that is called as a pole. That means what? Here if we substitute the z values below the a, that means you will get the modulus of z is equals to infinity, so that we can call them as poles. So now likewise you can have the poles and the zeros. So now properties of the z transform, properties of the region of convergence, this is not needed actually. We must go with the properties of the z transform. In the properties of the z transform, again we have to recall the properties of the Laplace transform, properties of the Fourier transform. That properties of the Fourier transform, the properties of the Laplace transform, properties of the z transform will be asked for the 10 marks in the exam. So that students, please be careful about the properties of the Fourier transform, Laplace transform and the z transform. In the tomorrow's class, I am going to explain some of the properties of the Z transform such that you will be understand what exactly the properties of the Z transform, and with that 50% of the fifth unit is going to be completed, and we left with the only remaining 50% and the 50 more percent in the fourth unit. Thank you, student. Thank you so much, and don't waste the time. Try to write the notes from the shared videos from all the subjects such that you will be ready for the external examination which is going to be there in the September month. Thank you, students.